Hello Internet, it's me Josh, the Aging Gamer. So, here in the States, the biggest wrestling promotion, the WWE, is finally giving women's wrestling the respect that women deserve. They no longer wear those skimpy lingerie outfits or compete in lowbrow competition like bra and panty matches. Ugh, gross, who even wants to see that? It only took them a few decades, but the women are finally able to get the chance in the spotlight just as much as the men. The women have been main eventing shows, getting more time for matches, getting multiple matches within shows, competing in the same brutal matches as the men, and they are even getting an upcoming all-women's pay-per-view event for the first time ever, at least in WWE's case. Previously known as just divas, the women of WWE are finally being treated less like sex objects and more like respected athletes. So with that said, the game I'm reviewing today also celebrates women's wrestling. However, it takes all that high-class, respectable stuff and throws it right out the fucking window. This is Rumble Roses.
Are you ready for the new sensation? Well, here's a shot heard around the world. Are you backroom boys salute when you're black on first? Guess who's back in circulation? Well, I don't know what you may have heard, but what I need right now is the original Good Time Girl.
Rumble Roses. It's like if WWE SmackDown and Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball had a baby. Rumble Roses was published in 2004 for the PS2 by Konami. Yeah, Konami, the same people that brought you Castlevania and Metal Gear Solid. They won't let you forget that either, as you see advertisements for those series all throughout this game. Also, this title was developed by Yuke's. Now, if you're a wrestling fan, you might recognize them as the team that has always worked on the SmackDown vs. Raw, and WWE 2K games. This was during the time where Yuke's could actually create more than one wrestling game at a time, and not only that, but make each game totally different from each other. Rumble Roses is definitely different. But let's talk about the in-game stuff. Let's talk about the story, because believe it or not, there is a big, ridiculous story. One of the wrestlers, Anesthesia, is secretly a mad scientist disguised as a nurse and is holding the Rumble Roses tournament so she can collect DNA samples from female fighters to create super soldier cyborgs so she can drive fear into the heart of the world. Yeah, okay. That's the overall story, but in story mode, which is basically a fighting style arcade mode, you'll pick from any of the female fighters and you'll go through a series of matches. You'll learn why each individual character is competing, and afterwards you'll unlock an alter ego of that character. Each alter ego is either a face or a heel, which is wrestling terms for a good guy or bad guy. So if you're a bad guy, you'll unlock their good guy persona, and vice versa. It's pretty cool as it expands the roster, but it's kind of annoying that only one persona can be displayed at a time in exhibition mode. If you want to play as, say, the good persona of a bad wrestler, you'll have to perform certain tasks within matches to switch them over. I'm just so bothered that my character select screen looks like I haven't unlocked anyone yet. So, how does this game play? Surprisingly, not too bad. Like I mentioned, this game was created by Yuke's, and with Yuke's having experience with wrestling games, the game mechanics are pretty similar to those early PS2 WWE games. There's your typical wrestling mechanics here: run, strike, grapple, submission, and climb in the turnbuckle. There's also a block button, which can be comboed with the triangle or square button to reverse moves. To win a match, you must either beat down your opponent enough to get a 3-count pinfall, or make them submit. Submissions are kinda cheesy in this game though. I mean, you can just put someone in the same submission hold a few times and get an easy win. Pins can be a bit harder though, but luckily there's some big moves that you can do to help beat up your opponent. As you fight, your meter at the top will rise. Once the bar is filled, you now have obtained a finisher. By pressing L1 when the opponent is in the right position, you can pull off an awesome looking killer move or lethal move. Now, also while fighting, you'll notice that after certain moves, you or your opponent will also have a heart meter that gets filled. This meter you don't want to see get filled on your end. If a character's heart is filled, they start blushing and get all embarrassed. It's kinda creepy and makes me feel pervy, but I guess if I'm playing a game like this, then I kinda am. So once they're in this state, you have a short amount of time to use one of your finishers as a humiliation move. Hit L2 in the right position to activate it. And that's pretty much it for matches. You'll only ever fight in one-on-one single matches. Well, there is one other match. Mud matches. That's right, mud matches. Our femme fatales must fight in bikinis while getting drenched in mud. I mean, It's supposed to be mud. It doesn't quite look like mud, but gosh darn it if that's not the best mud effects I've ever seen on a PS2 game. The concept to winning a match here is the same as the other single matches. The only difference is, of course, the fan service, and also the fact that you can climb up this. You'll see this match show up in story mode, and you can actually choose it in exhibition mode as well. Speaking of exhibition, there's only 3 different match types. The standard singles match, the mud match, or a title match. Other than a few match types and story mode, that's about it. There's not much else to the game. Well, there is one more mode, the gallery mode. You pick a wrestler and you, well, watch her stretch. You can pan the camera around however you like, and you can zoom in and out, so have fun doing whatever you plan on doing in this mode. Here's a small trivia for you. If you don't press any of the buttons in this mode, the wrestler will start getting interviewed and they'll start answering random questions. Kinda cool if you want to find out more about the wrestlers. And that's all the modes and things you can do in this game. So, with it all said and done, Rumble Roses, is it a good or bad game? It's not that bad. When it comes to the gameplay, it isn't deep, and the controls could feel a bit stiff at times. However, you can pull off a lot of cool wrestling spots. Some of the moves were ripped right out of SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, and there's also plenty of original moves in here too, and a lot of them look freaking awesome. And speaking of visuals, the game itself looks very appealing. All the females look great, and the small amount of arenas look good too. Rumble Roses does suffer from quite a few things though. The lack of different match types is a real bothersome to me. I mean, they don't need cage matches or ladder matches or anything, but maybe some tag team matches, triple threats, or 4-way dances. It would have been nice to mix up the gameplay. It's only single standard matches or nothing. The story mode is fine, but my god is it hard to watch these cutscenes. The voice acting is just awful. Look at this.
You looking good, just as a hick should.
Listen, we're not the ones you want.
Enough talk. To action.
Bloody Shadow, bad lady. She steals goats.
Yeah, I can see you're busy with your mud.
Now you've done it.
Overall, I suppose the gameplay is mediocre. The amount of content is subpar, but at least it looks pretty, which I guess was the purpose of the game in the first place. I guess how this game appeals to people depends on the person themselves. Honestly, I love wrestling, so I had to play this game. I'm not a big fan of super sexy polygons, but after playing games like this, Bayonetta, Dead or Alive, Oni Chambara, I can certainly tolerate it. If you like wrestling and busty chicks, try it out. I don't feel like Rumble Roses is a hidden gem by any means, but it's not a bad game. It just doesn't do enough to keep you invested in the long run. But these are just my opinions. What do you guys think of it? Do you like Rumble Roses? Do you not like Rumble Roses? Have you even played Rumble Roses? Let's talk about it in the comments. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. If you want to subscribe, that'd be cool too. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.